demeanor?
No.
Her speech pattern?
No.
Was there anything about your interactions with Lindsay during that time that caused you to have concern about her harming herself or someone else?
No.
And then after she gave birth to Callan, did you notice a change in her demeanor at that time?
No.
Or her behavior or rate of speech?
No.
Did you see her in Connecticut in November of 2022?
Yes.
And why did you see her then? What was happening?
She had traveled down to Connecticut. We had gotten together as a group to go out to breakfast.
And had she come to Connecticut alone or with her family?
Alone, I believe, at that time.
And you said you went out to breakfast?
Yes.
Was this with that whole group of friends and spouses and everyone that kept in contact from Connecticut?
Yes, there was a group of us there that had all remained friends.
Did you notice anything about her demeanor or behavior at that breakfast in November of 2022 that caused you concern or was different than her typical behavior?
No.
Did you have some text conversations about, in January of 2023, about some issues that Lindsay was having?
Yes.
And do you recall when those messages started?
I don't recall the exact date of the messages, but it was only, I believe, one night.
And in terms of what happened on January 24th, 2023, how close in time was it to that?
Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
So in terms of January 24th, 2023, when the children were killed, how close in time were your text messages to that incident?
Only a few days.
Okay. And what was that text conversation?
She had shared that she had been taking a medication that caused her to have some dark thoughts, but that she was going to, or had been tapering off that medication and was trialing new ones that would remove those side effects and be more helpful and therapeutic to what she needed.
And did she tell you what those dark thoughts were?
No.
What was the tone of the conversation?
I remember it being something where there was conveying of hope and that it was going to be we were moving in a positive direction.
So basically, would it be fair to say, and how was that arranged?
At the request of one of her family members who reached out to see if I would like to come visit.
And you traveled to Massachusetts and visited Lindsay at the Spalding Rehab Center, is that right?
Yes.
And what did you do there with Lindsay that day?
We made small talk. We played Uno. It was a pretty basic visit.
When you say you made small talk, what did she talk about?
I remember her asking about my daughter. I remember her asking about any updates to life events for our friends. We talked about some hobbies that she was doing while at Spalding and then played a game.
Do you remember what hobbies she was doing at Spalding?
I can't recall specifically, no.
At any point in time, did she mention the death of her children?
No.
At any point in time, did she break down in tears and cry about her children?
No.
What was her affect during that meeting?
I don't remember exactly. Pretty neutral, I would say.
Did she attempt at any point to harm herself?
No.
Did she ask you for help in harming herself?
No.
Did she talk about Cora Dawson or Callan at all?
No.
I have nothing further. Thank you.
Mr. Reddington. Good afternoon. You're nervous. Don't be. Okay. You guys go back how far?
Almost 29 years.
And over those 29 years, knowing Lindsay when you guys were in grammar school, I guess, and high school, and then you went off to college and you had your families and your marriages, tell us what your opinion was of her as a person.
I knew her as a good person, a good friend, a good mom.
And you had occasion to see her with her kids and how she acted with her kids, Cora, up till Callan.
Yes.
And did you ever observe anything out of the ordinary, or did she appear to be a loving person and taking care of her kids?
I never saw anything out of the ordinary.
District Attorney asked you about the visit that you had when you were good enough to visit with her at Spalding Rehab. And this was when, in March of 23?
Yes.
And arrangements had to be made for you to visit with her. You had to get approval, and whether you know or not, I mean, I had to kind of help you out a little bit trying to get through the red tape to get in there to see her, along with her family approval and that type of thing, right?
I don't recall any of that.
But you were able to get in
Yes.
to visit with her. And this would have been in the beginning of March, if you know, the middle of March, the end?
I don't recall the exact
Okay.
time.
Was she able to walk around and ambulate, or was she in a wheelchair, or what was her condition? Was she in bed?
She was in a wheelchair. She was sitting up the entire visit.
Did you ask her about why she was in the wheelchair and anything like that?
No.
You knew that she had been in the hospital from January 24th, right?
Yes.
And you knew that your friend had been charged by the police and had killed her 3 beautiful children, right?
Yes.
That was a bit of an awkward, uncomfortable topic, wasn't it?
I think it would be for anybody, yes.
Absolutely. And the district attorney asked you whether or not she cried and whether or not she told you about her children and anything to do with her children or that incident. You both basically stayed away from that entire subject, right?
I remember also being told not to bring that up specifically, which at the time I figured that could be due to the recommendation of mental health providers, et cetera, who were treating her.
Right. And who told you that?
Her sister.
Now, how long did you visit with her?
It was brief, maybe 30 to 45 minutes.
That's all I have. Wait a minute. Did you guys have a group get together in December of 2022, if you recall?
I don't recall.
Do you recall seeing her after Thanksgiving around that time frame in December of 22?
I don't recall no.
Do you recall having conversations with her around that time frame, which would be in December of 2022, that she was talking to you about medications and asking you questions about a particular medication?
I don't recall the exact time frame of those conversations.
Okay. You were summoned here today by the DA's office, is that correct?
Yes.
You were also on my witness list as well, right?
Yes.
And when I ask you about the conversations, the reason is you were questioned by the state police back in January of 23. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And one of the troopers had asked you whether or not you had any conversations with Lindsay, your friend, about medications, and you indicated that, and I quote, page 12, she knows that I'm pretty open about mental health, that I'm a big advocate of mental health, and she asked me if I knew, like you know, if I had tried a medication. Do you remember saying that?
Yes.
Okay. Does that refresh your memory at all as to approximately what time, when that was? Would that have been in December of 22, after Thanksgiving?
I don't know. I still don't recall the exact time, but I do remember that being a conversation that we had.
Okay. Do you remember where you had the conversation?
It was over text message.
Okay. Do you recall her asking you what your experience was? Because you had some knowledge of medications, correct?
as a patient.
Okay. And as a result of that and being close and good friends, that she had asked you what your experience was, and again, it's page 13, and she would say, how was your experience? Did you ever take this? What was your experience with this? That type of thing. Do you remember that? That conversation?
I don't recall the specific conversation.
Do you recall the medication that she asked you about?
Yes.
What was that?
I remember it being Lexapro.
Do you recall in your text message exchange that she had asked you about or told you about some of the medications that she was taking and that there were some difficulties with it?
Yes.
Do you remember that she had asked you whether or not you had noted or if you were aware of any side effects of medications?
I don't recall.
And after those text threads and with that understanding, being as close to Lindsay as you were, she then confided in you that she was having dark thoughts, as I think was the expression.
That was a long time after the conversation that we had had about the medication. I do remember that being the first time I had heard any concern around her mental health up until that point.
Okay, and what point was that, if you remember?
Can you restate the question?
Sure. Let me ask it this way. When she told you that she was having problems or difficulties with the medication and when she was telling you that she was having dark thoughts, do you remember when that was?
Towards the end of January 2023.
Okay. Do you remember, was that in person or was that a message, text message?
Over text message.
Did she explicate or did she explain what the dark thoughts were?
No.
And the next time you saw her after that was at the hospital rehab, correct?
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. That's all I have.
Counsel? All right, thank you, ma'am. You may step down.
Commonwealth calls Christopher Clancy.
Good afternoon, sir. Can you stop right there, raise your right hand for the clerk, please?
Good afternoon. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony in the evidence you will give to Thank you, sir. You may have a seat.
Stop, please.
Thank you. Is this my water?
Yes.
Okay.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
All right, call up.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Can you please state and spell your name for the record?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
Could you please state and spell your name for the record?
Yes, Christopher William Clancy, CHRISTOPHER, WCLANCY.
And what's your date of birth?
7/26/61,
Where do you live?
Situate, Mass.
And do you work?
No, I'm retired.
What did you do before you retired?
I was a plumbing contractor.
Is Patrick Clancy your son?
Yes.
When did you first meet Lindsay Clancy?
I don't know what the year was, but I believe I met her for the first time at my at the cottage in Hull. That was my parents' house, and I believe that's when I met her. I think he brought it down there.
Was that before or after she and Patrick had gotten engaged?
That was before.
And eventually they got engaged and got married, correct?
Correct.
And had 3 children, correct?
Correct.
So I want to direct your attention to the time frame after Callan was born in May of 2022. Did you have a chance to observe Lindsay interact with Callan?
Yes.
And what was Lindsay like with Callan?
She was very mothering.
And was she protective?
I would say yes, like any mother would be.
Do you recall describing her previously as very protective of him?
I would say that she was very protective of him.
Was she, in terms of how protective she was of Callan versus Dawson and Cora, was she more, less, or the same?
I would say she was more of the same when the babies were little, when the babies were young.
So is that something typical when she would have one of the children? She'd be very protective when they were first born?
Yes, I think that's like any other mother, though.
And how often would you see the family?
We saw them regularly. They lived not too far from us. They lived in Weymouth first, and we saw them regularly.
And then eventually they moved to Duxbury?
Yes.
And directing your attention to the time frame between November 16th, 2022 and Thanksgiving of that year, did you see them at your house?
I think they did come up to our house one time. Might have been a Saturday or a Sunday.
Okay. And why did they come over that day?
I think they just came over to say hi.
And what was Lindsay's demeanor that day?
Very good.
And was there any difference in her behavior or speech pattern than what you'd seen with her previously?
Not that day.
And how was that visit?
Very good.
Did you then see them at or around Thanksgiving?
Yes, we did.
Okay. And where was that?
That was at my daughter Laura's house in Hamilton.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean
In
to.
Hamilton.
And did you interact with Lindsay that day?
Yes.
What was her demeanor that day?
She seemed a little, how do you say it? Let me think for a minute. She seemed quiet.
Okay. And did she seem to interact with everyone there as she normally would?
Yeah, she was very close with my daughters and her sister-in-law.
Do you recall them wearing coordinating shirts that day?
I think so.
And during dinner that day, did you make observations of Lindsay getting the kids settled down for dinner?
I did.
And did you see her interact with Dawson?
Yes, I did.
And can you describe that interaction, please?
Mm-hmm. She was getting a little frustrated. Dawson was being a little silly, and she was trying to get him to sit down. And she was just a little bit getting frustrated with him, and I noticed it, so I got up to help her.
And when you saw her getting frustrated with him, did you see her do something to get him seated?
She took him by the arm to get him seated. It wasn't anything crazy.
Right.
You know.
It's not like she hit him or anything like that.
No.
Right? She just took his arm and guided him to the seat. Is that correct?
Correct.
But you could see that she was frustrated. Correct?
I could.
And so you stepped in to help her, right?
Correct.
And what did you do to help?
I got her a plate, I believe. There were a lot of people, so it was just a little chaotic.
Now, directing your attention to the weekend before Christmas 2022, did you stop by their home that weekend?
I believe we did, yeah.
And who was there?
Her parents.
So it'd be Lindsay's parents, Lindsay, Patrick, and the kids?
Yes.
And were you by yourself or with your wife?
I was with my wife.
And was there a specific point for everyone stopping by and gathering that day?
I don't recall that.
Okay. Were you and your wife checking in or helping out that day?
We might have just been going down to check on things.
Okay. Did you know that there were some struggles going on at that point?
I did.
And did you know that Lindsay was, specifically Lindsay was having some struggles at that point?
Yes.
Did you stop by again a few nights before Christmas?
I thought that's the night you were talking about. Yes, I guess we did.
Okay. And when you stopped by the night before Christmas, do you recall who was there that day?
I think the same people, but I'm not positive.
So Lindsay's parents, Lindsay, Patrick, and the kids?
Yes.
And what was Lindsay's demeanor that day?
It was okay. It wasn't terrible.
Do you recall testifying previously and saying that she seemed like she was in good spirits?
Yes.
Would that be accurate?
Yes.
And when you were there at the house that day, did you make plans for the following day for Christmas Day?
Yes, we made plans to go to Mass.
And who was going to go to Mass?
Lindsay, Patrick, the kids, my wife Sue, and me.
And did you all, I'll strike that, the following day on Christmas, did you go over to Lindsay's home before going to Mass?
Yes.
Okay. Did you all gather for breakfast?
I don't recall.
And let me approach. Page 33. If you can just read to yourself lines 2 through 7, and then just look up when you're done.
Okay.
Take your time.
All right. Okay.
Does that refresh your memory, sir?
Yes.
So did you go over that day for breakfast?
Yes.
And how was Lindsay's demeanor that day?
It was good. She looked beautiful. She had a beautiful dress on.
And do you recall saying previously she seemed very happy that day?
Yes, she did.
And after breakfast, did everyone go to church as planned?
Yes.
And how were the children in church?
Fantastic.
Very well behaved.
Very well.
And then after church, did you have a conversation with Lindsay outside of the church?
I think we talked a little bit. I don't remember what we said, but we were going our separate ways.
Do you recall saying previously that Lindsay said she was glad she came and she really loved it?
Yes.
What was her demeanor while she was engaging with you after Mass?
She was quiet. She said that she liked the Mass, and she was really happy that she went.
And do you recall saying before that, strike that, do you recall after that conversation, you guys hugged each other and went your separate ways?
Yes.
Did you see the family again after Christmas?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Did you go to Cora's birthday party?
No.
Was it more of a kids gathering at a trampoline place?
That's what I heard.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Did you have plans to see them Tuesday, January 24th, 2023?
No.
Do you recall saying previously that there were plans to get together for dinner that night, but they changed because your wife had plans with her brother?
No, we never had plans to go there Tuesday night. They asked us to come to the Tuesday night, but we already had plans with Sue's sister Joan.
Okay, so there weren't set plans, but you were asked to come to their house that night.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you couldn't go because you had other plans.
Right, we were going to make it for Friday.
Thank you for clarifying that. In terms of your interaction with Lindsay and Patrick and the kids, while there were some struggles going on, did you and your wife offer to take the kids to your house overnight to kind of give them a break?
I did mention that to my son.
Okay. And was that offer declined?
Yes.
And going back to Thanksgiving of 2022, when you were interacting with Lindsay, I think you previously said that her demeanor was good, she was quiet. Did you also say at one point she had a little blankness to her at times?
She seemed to at times.
And can you tell us like what that was?
Just like a stare.
Kind of staring off into the distance, distracted?
No, just not totally interacting, just sort of
Okay. So at some points,
almost like nervous, kind of like.
nerves.
Almost just like, something like that.
Okay, so at some points she was staring a little bit, seemed a little nervous, but then in other times she was interacting with everyone as she normally would?
Pretty much.
Okay. You mentioned earlier when you were talking about Lindsay having a little bit of difficulty getting Dawson seated at Thanksgiving that he was being a little silly.
Yeah.
Was that typical for him to behave in that way?
Yeah, he was a handful, but he was good. He was a good boy.
Going back to the night of January 24th, 2023, at some point in time that night, did you get a phone call from Patrick?
In January?
January 24th, 2023.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes, we did.
And what was his demeanor during that call?
Is this the night of the?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
It was terrible.
And did you and your wife leave your home and head to the hospital to be with him?
Yes.
Thank you.
Attorney Reddington.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Clancy, just a couple of questions. You were summoned to be here by the DA, is that correct?
Correct.
And you gave statements to whoever wanted statements. You were very cooperative with the investigation, is that right?
Yes.
And being as you're the obviously grandfather and father of Pat, over the years from the time they were dating, engaged, married, kids, you and your wife were pretty close with both of them, were you not?
Yes.
Do you have an opinion as to how Lindsay was as a mother that you could see?
She was very, very good. She fed them great. She did a lot of things with them. They did like the all-American family.
And district attorney had asked you about Thanksgiving of 22, November 16th of 22, and she made reference, I think you would responded that she appeared to be quiet, and then she used the term, did you know about the struggles? Can you tell me what the struggles were? Do you know what she meant by that?
I knew.
Go to sidebar.
Sure, yeah.
Thank you, sir. I think I was asking you about the word "the struggles," and can you just tell the jury what was meant by the struggles?
I knew she was having a hard time sleeping. I knew she just didn't feel well. I know she had gone to the emergency room where my wife was working. Those types of struggles.
And just so, obviously for the record, your wife would be Sue,
Yes.
and she's a nurse, labor and delivery at South Shore.
Yes.
And did Lindsay confide, to your knowledge, yes or no, to your wife about some of her issues as a result of which your wife referred her to a person to speak to?
Yes.
Do you know who that person was?
I don't remember the person's name.
Okay, would that be the South Shore perinatal, I think is what it's called?
Yes.
Okay. And understanding that you're the father-in-law, would you agree that the two of you and Lindsay, had a pretty good relationship?
Yes, very good.
And you told us about November 16th, and then Thanksgiving of 22, and then up until Christmas, and then after Christmas, and the time frame actually right up to January 24th. You guys were supposed to get together that night, right?
Correct. Well, no, we weren't. We were asked to come to dinner that night.
But you had other plans.
We had other plans.
Okay. District Attorney asked you about, on a number of occasions, about the time at your home. I think it was on Thanksgiving when Dawson was acting a little rambunctious or silly, and that she guided him to his seat. Was she, to your opinion and what you could observe, did you believe that she was being abusive to him at all?
No.
And you know her mother and father as well, correct?
Yeah.
And the four of you, the in-laws from both sides, you and your wife, Sue, and Lindsay's mother and father, both were all kind of pulling together to try to help this young couple out during that time frame, right?
Yes.
And your son, Patrick, he was very concerned about his wife, was he not?
He was.
And he confided in you on a number of occasions.
Yes.
I'm sorry, sir. Thank you.
Como?
Nothing further.
All right, thank you, sir. Let me sit down. Thank you. Como, could I see you over here just skipping? Start the next witness for just a couple of minutes. And we're going to break till 2 o'clock. So I'm going to ask you to be ready to come back here at 2 o'clock. Same instructions I've been giving you the whole time during the break. Don't talk about this case with anybody. Don't do any research about this. Don't look into anything about this case or any similar cases. And I'll see you at 2 o'clock. Hope you have a nice break. Okay? Thank you.
Court, all rise.
So we'll be in recess on this matter till 2 o'clock.
Recess, folks.
court is back in session. You may be seated.
Your Honor, for the purpose of the record, we return back to the record in the matter of Commonwealth versus Lindsay Clancy. All parties are present, including Ms. Clancy, excluding the jury.
All right. Counsel, we ready for the jury?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, sure.
Court, all rise. Jurors enter. This court's now in session. Please be seated.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. For the purpose of the record, we return back to the trial of Commonwealth versus Lindsay Clancy. All parties are present, including the defendant and including 18 jurors.
Madam Clerk, thank you. Members of the jury, good afternoon. We're going to return to the case. Attorney Sprague.
Thank you, Your Honor. Commonwealth calls Kyle Carney.
Good afternoon, sir. Stop right here. Raise your right hand to the clerk, please.
Good afternoon. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony and the evidence you shall give to the court and the jury in the matter now pending between the Commonwealth and the defendant shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you, sir. You may have a seat.
Watch your step, please.
Excuse me, can we proceed?
Sure. All right, good afternoon, sir.
If I may.
Yes, counsel, go ahead.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Can you please state and spell your name for the record?
Yeah, Kyle Carney, Kyle
And your date of birth, please.
July 6, 1991.
And what town do you live in?
Duxbury.
What do you do for work?
Work in finance.
And are you married?
Yes.
Who's your wife?
Sarah Carney.
And you have children?
Yes.
Does your family, or did your family know the Clancy family?
Yes.
And did you know them through your friendship with Patrick Clancy?
Yes.
When did you meet Patrick Clancy?
2009.
And how did you meet?
We went to college together.
And after going through college together, did you remain friends after school?
Yes.
And eventually, did you end up living in Duxbury at the same time Patrick and his family lived in Duxbury?
Yes.
When did you meet Lindsay Clancy?
Maybe 12 years ago.
Did you meet them before they were married? Did you meet Lindsay before she married Patrick?
Yes.
Okay. And then obviously you knew them after they got married and as they had their children.
Yes.
How often would you see Patrick and his family while you were both living in Duxbury?
Maybe every other month.
And would you interact with Lindsay Clancy during those gatherings?
Yes.
And what was her typical demeanor?
Kind, caring,
Did you ever see any changes, significant changes in her behavior or demeanor when you would interact with her?
No.
Did you notice any changes in Lindsay Clancy after the birth of Cora or Dawson?
No.
Directing your attention to after Callan Clancy was born, did you interact with the Clancy family that summer?
Yes.
And how so?
Maybe beach dinners. It's hard to recall exactly.
So you said beach dinners, is that what you said?
Yes.
So basically families gathering together at the beach, having dinner, interacting with each other, is that right?
Sure.
How often would you do that during the summer of 2022?
I couldn't tell you exactly.
More than once?
Yeah, like at least monthly.
Okay. Did you also go fishing with Patrick during that time?
Yes.
Over the summer of 2022, did you notice any differences in in Lindsay Clancy's demeanor or behavior?
No.
Throughout the fall of 2022 into the beginning of January 2023, would you see Patrick Clancy?
Yes.
How often did you see him?
Again, maybe once a month, maybe.
And directing your attention to Sunday, January 22nd, 2023, did you have a small gathering at your home?
Yes, their family came over to my house.
Okay. And when you say their family, are you talking about Patrick Clancy and Lindsay Clancy?
And Cora and Dawson, too.
Callan didn't join them?
No.
Was he home with Lindsay's parents?
Yes.
And what was the purpose of gathering that day?
To socialize. It was a nice day out. I was having a fire to burn some brush in my backyard, and thought it'd be nice to invite them to come over and get the kids out and enjoy a nice day.
And what was Lindsay's demeanor that day?
I'd say quieter than normal.
And do you recall saying previously that the weekend was fairly normal, that Lindsay had always been a little tough to get a beat on, kind of quiet, but you were in the kitchen talking and it seemed normal?
I mean, in the kitchen, we had a conversation, and that was normal.
Normal, okay. Do you recall describing the day previously as a perfectly normal afternoon, really nice?
It was a nice day, yeah.
Okay. And so there was nothing out of the normal that happened that day in terms of Lindsay's behavior or demeanor?
Her behavior, demeanor appeared normal.
Okay. Did you have any problems communicating with her when you had conversation in the kitchen?
No.
Okay. How long was the family there at your house that day?
Maybe a few hours.
And during that time, I believe you described it previously as a normal, great day. Would that be accurate?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Reddington?
I have no questions. Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you, sir. Please step down. Thank you.
Thanks.
Watch your step, please.
Your Honor, the Commonwealth will call Andrew Chiacchio as its next witness.
All right.
Good afternoon, sir. Stop right there, raise your right hand to the clerk, please.
Good afternoon. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony in the evidence you shall give to the court and the jury, no matter what kind of between the Commonwealth and the defendant, shall be true? Thank you, sir. You may have a seat.
All right, good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, Your Honor. Counsel.
Thank you. Good afternoon, sir. Can you tell the jurors your first and last name?
Andrew Chiacchio,
Can you please spell your last name for the record?
Chiachio.
And what do you do for work?
I work for the state police
And how long have you been with the state police?
since December of 2013.
And what's your current assignment?
I work for the Plymouth County State Police Detective Unit.
How long have you been with the state police detective unit?
5 years.
And what's your current rank?
Sergeant.
I'm going to draw your attention back to January 24th of the year 2023. Were you still working for the State Police Detective Unit with the District Attorney's Office then?
Yes.
And do you recall being called into an investigation in regards to an incident that happened in the town of Duxbury on January 24th, 2023?
Yes.
Were you assigned as the case officer for that investigation at that time?
No.
But you're aware that a number of the other troopers in your unit were all called out to do different parts of the investigation.
Yes.
Do you recall if you actually went first to 47 Summer Street?
Yes, I did.
Were you quickly assigned to go someplace else and do some follow-up investigation?
Yes.
And one of the places that you went on that night was the CVS in Kingston, correct?
Correct.
That would have been at 189 Summer Street?
Yes.
Why were you asked to go to the CVS in Kingston?
To obtain surveillance video.
And had you learned information that one of the homeowners, the Patrick Clancy, might have visited that location earlier in the evening?
Yes.
And so when you got to the CVS, did you contact somebody in the store in order to try to determine whether there was surveillance?
Yes.
And did you speak with an employee there?
I did.
Do you recall who you spoke to?
Angela Kraus, she was the manager.
Were you able to get access to the surveillance at that time?
Yes.
And were you able to observe the time on the surveillance at the store as it pertains to real time?
Yes.
So tell us how you determined whether the time was accurate.
We look at the live feed and I compare it with my cell phone.
And your cell phone is a department-issued cell phone?
Yes.
Did you notice any discrepancies in the timestamps?
I did not.
And after viewing the video surveillance there at CVS, were you able to see Patrick Clancy in the store at CVS?
Yes.
And fair to say you were able to track that he arrived at 17:32:32 and exited the store at 17:37:08.
Yes.
At some point, were you also asked to look for surveillance at a different location?
I was.
What was the second location?
The 3V restaurant
And where is that located?
in Plymouth.
And fair to say it's the address there's 10 Cordage Park Circle?
Yes.
What is 3V?
A restaurant.
Okay, and why did you go there?
To obtain surveillance video.
Again, based on information that you had available to you, did you believe that Patrick Clancy had visited that location earlier in the evening of January 24th?
Yes.
And when you went to the 3V restaurant, did you speak with 2 employees there?
Yes.
Were you able to access the video surveillance?
I was.
And while at the restaurant, were you able to confirm Patrick Clancy on their video surveillance?
Yes.
Now, as far as their video surveillance timestamps, were you able to observe the timestamps at that location?
I was.
And did you notice any discrepancies about the time?
No.
And what did you do to confirm the time?
I compared the live feed with my cell phone.
Fair to say you were able to determine that the video surveillance did confirm Patrick Clancy arriving at 17:54:14, that he paid for a bag of food and he left the store by the front door at 17:55:01.
Yes.
Now, in addition to gathering the video surveillance, well, let me back up for a second. So on one particular occasion, you were able to go and view the video surveillance, correct?
Yes.
At some later date, were you provided with copies of the video surveillance from both the CVS in Kingston and the 3V restaurant in Plymouth?
Yes.
And you brought that back to the state police?
Yes, to the
The
district attorney's
video.
office. Yes.
Okay. Now, as follow-up for this investigation, did you learn information about the route of travel Patrick Clancy took that night to go from his home to these locations?
Yes.
Did you do anything to try to ascertain approximately how much time it would have taken him to go to these locations from his home at 47 Summer Street?
Yes, I mapped it on the Maps application on my iPhone.
Now, do you recall when you did that?
I don't.
When you did this mapping of the locations, did it give you approximate distances and times between the locations?
Yes.
And fair to say, not knowing exactly when it occurred doesn't account for the time Patrick would have been there or any traffic or accidents or anything like that.
Correct.
Right? But as far as you could tell, you were just looking for approximate time frames.
Yes, a general idea.
Now, as part of this investigation, you also were involved in some interviews with potential witnesses.
Yes.
Is that fair to say? Including Paula Musgrove.
Yes.
And who's Paula Musgrove?
The defendant's mother.
And you also spoke to a former nanny of the Clancys named Elaine Flaherty,
Yes.
as well as the employees from CVS, Angela Kraus, and Soraya Sweeney.
Yes.
Did you also, or were you also present in follow-up interviews with all of the first responders to the home in Duxbury on January 24th?
Not all of them, but a lot of them.
So that would have been a majority of the paramedics/firefighters from the different towns?
Yes.
On June 12th of 2023, did you apply for and receive a search warrant for 47 Summer Street?
Yes.
And why did you ask for a search warrant then, in June of 2023?
We were reviewing photos, crime scene photos, and someone noticed that there was potentially blood stains on the outside of the house that we had not swabbed.
So to your knowledge, on the date of the incident on January 24th, the stains on the outside of the house were not swabbed and collected by the crime lab, right?
Correct.
Did you have further conversations with forensic scientists at the crime lab to determine the viability of obtaining additional swabs all those months later?
At this point, it's hearsay and it's already been cross-examined about.
Allow the question just yes or no. Did you speak to somebody, not the answer?
So did you speak to somebody at the crime lab about the possibility of obtaining some biological substances from the home?
Yes.
And as a result of your conversations, did you then apply and were granted a search warrant?
Yes.
So subsequently, some swabs and shingles were collected from the home at 47 Summer Street?
Correct.
And were you present when that was done?
I was.
On May 15th, 2024, did you have the occasion to go to the Tewksbury State Hospital?
Yes.
And what was the purpose of going there?
To collect DNA from the defendant.
And is there a particular procedure that you, as an investigator, use in order to collect a DNA sample from somebody?
Yeah, we use a DNA collection kit. It has a foam swab that you use to swab the inside of a person's mouth to collect saliva. That's then transferred to a collection card. We let it dry, then seal the kit.
So the swab kind of looks like a lollipop?
Yes.
With a foam and...
Yes.
And you're trained on how to swab the inside of a person's cheek on both sides in order to obtain an adequate sample?
Yes.
And you did that in this case?
I did.
Who did you collect the sample from?
The defendant.
And that would be Lindsay Clancy?
Correct.
Were other people present when you did this?
Yes.
Who were they?
Sergeant Josh McElligan, DPH Police Chief Michael Riggs, and Attorney Reddington.
What did you do with the sample that was collected from the defendant on May 15th, 2024 at the Tewksbury State Hospital?
It was placed in a temporary evidence at the DA's office.
Was that sample then later transported to the State Police Crime Lab?
Yes.
Now, another thing that you did in this investigation sometime later was seek search warrants to Facebook, or what's known as Meta, correct?
Correct.
As well as a particular Facebook group called Attachment Parenting for Littles.
Correct.
As a result of that warrant, did you receive data back from Facebook?
I did.
And were you able to confirm a Facebook page in the name of Lindsay Marie Clancy?
Yes.
Were you also able to confirm that there's a particular post by the person named Lindsay Marie Clancy, or the Facebook page Lindsay Marie Clancy, on May 5th, 2021, to the Attachment Parenting for Littles group?
Yes.
I'm just going to approach. May?
You may.
I have no problem with the foundation.
No objection? Okay.
I'm just going to show you a document. Is that familiar to you?
Yes.
And is this the Facebook post posted by Lindsay Marie Clancy on May 5th, 2021?
It is.
I would move to admit this as the next exhibit.
No objection? That may be admitted.
Sergeant Cacchio, just showing you what's now been marked as Exhibit 217 on the screen. Is that a Facebook post from the Attachment Parenting for Littles Facebook group?
Yes.
And through the information you received from the search warrant return, you were able to locate the content of this post in the records for the Attachment Parenting for Littles and confirm that it also appeared to be authored by Lindsay Marie Clancy, correct?
Correct.
Or by the Facebook page of Lindsay Marie Clancy.
Yes.
And fair to say it reads, "Hello, lovely parents. I'm looking for some advice, solidarity, ideas, something, anything. I'm truly finding my 19-month-old to be the most difficult human I've ever encountered. I mean that with all love in my heart, but I honestly cannot make it through a day without getting so frustrated with him. He's not my first child, so not to compare, because I know that every child is different, but just for background, this isn't my first rodeo. Every single thing with him is a battle, and it has been this way for a while, since he was maybe 8 months old. I really try to pick my battles and only do what's completely necessary, but I mean everything, getting out of his crib in the morning and going downstairs, changing his diaper, getting him dressed, getting him in his seat to eat, getting him in the car seat, getting him out of the car seat, putting on his jacket and shoes to go outside, having him come inside when it's time, going to sleep for his nap, and at night, he fights me every step of the way with all these normal daily activities. It constantly feels like I have to force him to do these things, which feels so wrong, but he is always fighting me and crying about doing these very normal things." You recall seeing that message in the records.
I do.
And fair to say there was some comments to the records and also an acknowledgement by the person with the Facebook page, Lindsay Marie Clancy, thanking the contributors for their advice.
Yes.
I have no further questions.
Mr. Reddington.
Good afternoon, sir.
So this would be Exhibit 217, which is the Parenting for Littles post by Lindsay, correct?
Correct.
And this was back in May of 2021?
Yes.
And she was talking about her son, who at the time was 19 months old?
That's correct.
Now, as a state police officer, you know how to investigate things, right?
Yes.
You guys must have turned things inside out to find out if Lindsay Clancy was ever abusive to her son Dawson, right?
That's correct.
Found nothing, did you?
No.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Anything on that?
No, thank you.
Thank you, sir. You may step down.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I'll just step, please, sir.
Sure. All right. Members of the jury, there's a motion or a hearing I have to do with the lawyers, and it's going to take a little bit of a while. So I'm going to excuse you for today. Come back tomorrow, 9 o'clock. One of the questions I asked over here was, where are we on the time estimate? All right. I'm told that we are on schedule, if not ahead of schedule, in regards to what we told you. All right? So I'm going to excuse you till tomorrow. We're going to stay here, do a few more things. And I'm just going to remind you, as I've said every night, you have to have an open mind. Don't talk about this with anyone. Don't do any research about anything. If you see anything about this case or any similar cases, don't read, listen, or watch anything in regards to that. Don't do any research on this or any matters that you have or questions you have in your mind. Don't take any field trips. Don't happen to just be driving by certain areas that you think you want to double check. We've done that. All right? You've worked so hard in this case so far. I just want you to continue to follow those instructions. And with that, I'm going to excuse you until tomorrow. I would expect, and every time I say this, I'm usually wrong, but I would expect we'd have a pretty full day tomorrow. Okay? And so with that, I hope you have a nice evening. Hope you stay cool. And we will see you tomorrow. So thank you very much.
Good. All right. Good. Kindly close the doors, please, on your chairs. Stay good.
Jurors, I'd like to submit the court on this part of the session. Please be seated.
All right. So we're going to be in recess until 3 o'clock. We're going to come back. We'll have a hearing on the defendant's motion for permission to call certain witnesses. And so we'll have a hearing on that at 3 o'clock. All right. So we'll be in recess. So basically, parties can kind of get themselves oriented in regards to that motion. So we'll be in recess.
Court, all rise.
session, you may be seated.
Your Honor, for the purpose of the record, we return back to the matter of Commonwealth versus Lindsay Clancy. All parties are present excluding the jury.
All right. Well, what I wanted to do was hear the arguments in regards to the defendant's motion for permission to call witnesses. I know that this was filed this morning, but it's kind of hand in glove with issues that were raised a couple of weeks ago. At least mention the same witnesses. So I'm going to hear first from the defendant. They'll hear from the Commonwealth. I will probably take it under advisement and review some of the other documents, but I want to make this decision as soon as I can, so everybody kind of can plan on how they go based on the decision. So Mr. Reddington, let me hear you first on this.
Thank you. Your Honor, obviously, I don't have to belabor the obvious. This is a murder trial, very serious business, and we've all been working very hard on the discovery, which, as you can tell, is voluminous. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pages of state police interviews. And I mentioned, about with the government. They have cops. They have people going out and interviewing. They have videos. They have chemists. They have detectives. They have local cops. They want a cup of coffee. They can send 5 cops down the street to get one. I'm it, except for my son Patrick, who helps me out getting coffee, all right? And the reason I sound frustrated is that they are objecting 2 weeks ago because they need time to review, to cross-examine doctors on very basic items of evidence that are their items of evidence. Not one of those witnesses is adding or bringing anything new to the discovery, if you will. And not by way of excuse, but, I am a sole practitioner. In the past, May, June, July, in the past 3 months, I've had a murder, a rape, and 2 back-to-back federal trials that ended 1 week before we impaneled on this case. I have worked really hard to pull this case together with expert witnesses, civilian witnesses, private investigators been investigating. I provide everything to them as soon as I get it, and they have been doing the same with me. I haven't objected to one thing that they have offered. They put an AutoCAD, computer animated display disc on my desk last week. I didn't complain about it, run to you and try to exclude it. I said, fine, no problem, put it in my pile and move on. That's it. So to suggest that they need time to be able to cross-examine both, I've had trials with both of these prosecutors. They're both experienced. They're very, very familiar with the trial of major criminal cases. I feel that they're more than capable of being able to cross-examine, for example, number one, Dr. Volkovich, who is a board-certified emergency medicine physician. His report indicates that he has taken a look at South Shore Hospital. He's taken a look at the Brigham and Women's Hospital. He's taken a look at the photographs. That's their evidence. That's all he looked at. And all he's doing is basically what all of their South Shore doctors came in and testified to as to the nature of the injuries, in his opinion, the type of injury that she suffered, talking about the injuries to the right and left wrist as well as the neck. In his opinion, dealing with suicide attempts, that it's a legitimate suicide attempt. There's no secrets. There's nothing new that they have to prepare to cross-examine him on. Dr. Laposada is a doctor that is well known to most of us, and I've been using Dr. Laposada's fine services for the past decade or longer. I know that both of these attorneys are familiar with her. She's not bringing anything new to the table. She's bringing her opinion based upon their evidence as to the medical records, x-rays, all of the rest of the indicia of the injury that she suffered. Now, they're talking about Lindsay going out and hanging off of a window and then doing, like I said, the Spider-Man slide down the side of the house, apparently. Absolutely ridiculous. She dove out that window, she hit her head, and she suffered what Dr. Laposada refers to as a Jefferson fracture of the spine that is very, very, very typical for this type of an injury. When somebody dives into the shallow end of a pool, they get that injury, unfortunately. When somebody kids are on a boat and they're drunk and one of them jumps off a mast into the shallow end of the water off of Cape Cod. They get that type of injury. Superman, when he gets thrown off the horse, 6 feet high, same injury. That's all. She's not bringing any esoteric theory to this case that they need time to prepare. Interestingly enough, the Brigham and Women's Hospital records do make reference to the Jefferson fracture, right from jump. She also assists me, as she always does, on autopsy photographs, any indicia of injuries, and it's her opinion that if they try to say that there are bruises to these little babies that were inflicted by her, they're absolutely wrong, and Dr. Laposada would indicate that these are consistent with either EMT, God bless those first responders, but they were in a panic and they're trying to take care of these kids and pick them up and run them up to their trucks and vehicles. So, and other, obviously, the interosseous injection into the legs, the shins, the thighs, all of these bruises are from medical intervention, not Lindsay Clancy. That's what she would testify to. That's it. They don't need time to prepare to cross-examine for that. Finally, I have Dr. Condy. Dr. Condy signed even better than a report. He signed an affidavit. And again, it's based upon medical records that we all have. Way back when this case first started, the government presented the case to the grand jury. First thing I said to Lindsay was sign a release. Let the government get all the medical records. We'll all have access to them. This case is obviously going to be predicated upon the medical records, psychiatric records. We signed every release. They got every document and had them into the grand jury. I got copies. They have copies. Condy would testify to the horrific, in his opinion, failure to comply with the standard of care that would govern psychiatrists, psychologists, Dr. Tufts, who's going to be testifying tomorrow, nurse practitioner Gelada, the other individual from the McLean Hospital, all records that they've had for years. So they don't need time to prepare for cross-examination. So weeks ago, counsel, after I gave them copies of all of these reports and affidavit, strike that, I'm sorry, the reports I just got, and I just sent them the affidavit from Condy they already have, I disclosed to them what my opinion would be of the opinions from these doctors that would be testifying, and the report carries that out. I suggest to the court that to strip Lindsay's ability to present evidence in support of her defense, number one, it would not be in the interest of justice. I'd like to hear a DA stand up and say, in the interest of justice in this case, because weeks ago we got this information and we're not prepared to testify, to cross-examine the testifying witnesses, I think even Your Honor would agree is a disingenuous argument. She came in and said to you, oh, Rule 14 matters, and it applies to the government just as it applies to the defense, and therefore you should exclude these witnesses. Well, if I messed up, and it's my trial schedule that caused me to not be able to have written reports of the stuff that they've had for years to prepare to cross-examine these witnesses, then it's my fault, and it deprives her of effective assistance of counsel, because that would then deprive her of her defense. This is a pathologist, an emergency room doctor, and a doctor who would testify to the standards that would apply to these doctors that they're going to call as their witnesses, which is another interesting fillip, if you will, where they're calling Tufts, Gelada, the other individuals from McLean, all treating physicians of her that are all lined up to come in and testify against her on this case. Fine, bring it. But at least give me the ammunition to counter it.
Let me ask you this, kind of go backwards. In regards to Dr. Condy, the affidavit really speaks more towards the standard of care.
That's right. He's not giving an opinion of criminal responsibility.
Right, but I'm struggling to see how that comes in. Now, maybe.
Well, he's the doctor that I'm using for toxicology.
That's what I feel. But though, the reason I'm asking that is I'm not sure in this case, is this the standard of care necessarily as relevant as to, in regards, as opposed to causation? Do you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I think the standard of care does speak to causation. He doesn't have to use it as standard of care. He can use it as his opinion as to the first doctor that she spoke to, Dr. Tufts, when she presents with a bipolar 1 presentation, and then Tufts prescribes an SSRI to her, which flies in the face of any rational psychiatrist and what they would prescribe and do. He's more than qualified to testify.
That's a different question, and that may be more admissible than someone saying, oh, I found what the standard of care, and I find that this violates it. If we have got an expert who says, listen, I am qualified, I looked at these records, I disagree with that treatment, I'd be more inclined to allow that than to get into the standard of care, which is obviously consistent more with the civil world.
So with that, I can reach out to Dr. Conde and have him delete reference to standard of care in his report and address the actual treatment as to an opinion as to its appropriateness. But again, on the issue that they're raising, that they need time to prepare to cross-examine, I don't think that lies even if he revises his report by removing standard of care.
Well, let me ask you this, because I haven't had an opportunity. This is probably what I'm going to have to look at tonight. Is Dr. Conde adding anything to the expert disclosures that have already been made? Because I know there's disclosures.
He's taking the medical records, Tufts, Gelada, McLean Hospital, and just commenting on the care and the treatment that was presented to her as a patient looking for help. That's all he's doing. He's not adding anything. He's talking about the prescriptions that were provided to her, the SSRIs, the antipsychotics, the benzodiazepines, all of that. That's what his opinion is predicated upon, which is all of the prescriptions that the government has already introduced into evidence and is well aware of.
Right, and said, but I know that the parties have already exchanged reports months ago, and I know that everybody did that. And I haven't had a chance to review specifically the defendant's reports. And is there an expert who is going to address these kind of issues already?
No. Dr. Conde was my toxicologist and my physician that would give an opinion as to the appropriateness of the treatment that she received, especially as it relates to the prescriptions. I mean, Dr. Laposada is a pathologist. She has nothing to do with it. Dr. Zeisel is a psychologist. He has nothing to do with it. Dr. Resnick is a psychiatrist specializing in infanticide. He's not addressing that issue, and nor is Dr. Spinelli, who is a postpartum depression, postpartum psychosis expert. So Dr. Conde is my expert for toxicology and the level of care that she received.
All right.
Which guts the defense if their argument that they need time to cross-examine or prepare results in an exclusion.
Okay, come on.
Thank you, Your Honor. With regard to Dr. Conde, one of my points is going to be that his affidavit addresses the standard of care, which is more of the civil issue, but you've already addressed that. With defense counsel's pivot that he would then instead testify about the treatment of the defendant in toxicology, looking at the affidavit in which he outlines his qualifications, he's not a toxicologist. He's a physician licensed here in Massachusetts. He's done a residency in general psychiatry, child and adolescent psychiatry, and forensic psychiatry, but he's not a toxicologist. And also, it's not just us having all the same records that makes for cross-examination to be fundamentally fair. There's more to cross-examination than just having the underlying data. It's also knowing more about the expert, being able to look into their publications and their prior testimony and being able to prepare to rebut anything that they might testify to. And where we have this late disclosure, which was 1 week prior to trial, starting, that's fundamentally unfair to the Commonwealth. And I think what Dr. Condi would be testifying to, if it's just limited to her treatment and what was prescribed to her, that's covered by the other three experts that defense already has. They all talk about her treatment, the prescription she was on, and the effects those had on her. So I think that would be redundant, and it would be unfair to the Commonwealth to add this fourth expert to talk about the same things that the other three experts are going to talk about when we haven't had a chance to prepare for this particular expert. For Dr. La Posada, what we have is a 2.5-page letter to Attorney Reddington outlining her thoughts, but it doesn't say what her opinions are based on. It doesn't say which materials she's reviewed and what she's relying on. So I would suggest that it's an insufficient report. And again, with the delayed disclosure, for example, she talks about Jefferson fracture causing the injuries. Well, if we had this information previously and knew this is what they were going to argue, we could have obtained our own expert to talk about the mechanism of injury and Jefferson fractures and all of those things. But we weren't told until a week before trial that she would even potentially be a witness. And then we get this report on July 26th. That's a 2.5-page letter.
But didn't we have multiple trauma surgeons, neurosurgeons who've testified, who treated her? Couldn't someone just ask, is that consistent with, and that's pretty much, if I'm looking at Dr. La Posada's note, I'm not sure I would allow in opinions regarding whether or not it's a serious suicide or not, but she does indicate it's consistent with landing on somebody, on an individual's head.
Well, Your Honor, we had a trauma surgeon from the South Shore Hospital testify who said that the injuries that Ms. Clancy sustained were a level 1 and she had to be transported to another hospital where doctors who were trained in those injuries could operate on her. So we didn't think that she would have the knowledge and the training and experience to testify about the nature of those injuries and how they occur. The trauma surgeon from Brigham and Women's Hospital is with the military and is overseas in the Middle East, and so was unavailable. But had we known that this was going to be an issue and they were going to allege this particular type of fracture, we would have endeavored to get another expert in replace of the doctor who treated her at Brigham and Women's. But we didn't know that this would even be an issue until a week before trial. And again, this letter is dated July 26th, and it doesn't tell us which records, which reports, or which what medical journals or training or anything that these opinions are based on.
Well, that could be done by voir dire. I mean, the Commonwealth has at least inferred through their case that this was not a serious suicide attempt, right? I mean, and there's questions about whether or not somebody's hanging outside the window or not. And so why wasn't this an issue that the Commonwealth could have anticipated would come up?
The position of the Commonwealth isn't that it wasn't a serious suicide attempt. It's that the methods that were chosen were insufficient to achieve the goal. And the reasons for that, we would argue in our closing. I don't think we have to disclose that theory at this point, but we've never said it wasn't a serious suicide attempt. We've never said it was a fake suicide attempt. What we've endeavored to develop from the testimony is that the methods that were chosen were methods that would be unsuccessful, but we're not saying it wasn't a serious attempt. And I think the reasons for that will become clearer when the doctors give their testimony. But it's our position that she was attempting to kill herself that night, and there are various reasons and factors where she was unsuccessful in killing herself, but successful in killing her children.
But there's been all kinds of testimony regarding, it seems to be a dispute of whether or not she's hanging from the windowsill or goes out head first. There's some testimony that's been raised, even with the blood experts and things, that she may have been hanging from the windowsill. Dr. La Posada, it seems what they're seeking is those injuries are consistent with somebody who lands on their head.
So would the court allow us to call a witness who's not on our witness list to rebut that evidence?
Yeah, I would consider that. Sure.
I would have no problem
Yeah.
with that.
And this is kind of what, why I didn't make a decision on this earlier, because I had to kind of see how the case develops. And this issue of how this injury occurs is certainly, it's either been specifically and explicitly raised or inferred in multiple questions. Even to the length to the part of, the cuts and things like that. It's been over and over and over. So if the Commonwealth seeks to get somebody to rebut that, I would strongly consider that. And in regards to Dr. LaPosada's opinion, we may need a voir dire in regards to, but I wouldn't imagine the voir dire would take that long. It would be, did you view, the x-rays? I mean, that kind of an injury is probably pretty clear on the x-rays or the MRIs.
If we could get a list from defense counsel on what she's basing her opinion on, so we can have our witness review the same material.
Let me tell you right now, it's just simple. It's just the South Shore Hospital medical records, Brigham and Women's medical records that have already been discussed with the jury.
Why don't we do this, just so it's clear, because when a witness is on the stand, it's much easier to have something in writing to say, is this what you relied on? So if you could get from Dr. LaPosada what she is relying upon to form that opinion, like I said, I'm inclined to allow that opinion, and I would allow then the Commonwealth to present a rebuttal witness if they seek to.
And just note our objection
Sure.
to that, but also the third expert, what we have here is a letter dated August 4th. That's a page and a half. That's not even signed by, I believe it's Dr. Volkovich.
Yeah. I'm more concerned with that is whether or not the opinion is admissible. The opinion, as I see it, is he's reviewed the medical records, and it's his opinion these are injuries that commonly observed in, the quote is, serious suicide attempts.
We could delete serious.
Yeah, I mean, or even suicide attempts. That's an opinion.
Their doctors waxed eloquently about suicide and whether
Right.
or not it's, I mean, we
But
could delete serious.
But I'm just concerned that how are we going to kind of parse out what he looked at? 100 other cases, and then we go through into all of those. So I'm going to have to take a look. That's what I'm going to take under advisement for sure. That doesn't mean he may have other opinions I'm going to have to look at. I think he talked about some of his observations as an emergency room doctor, I think, didn't he? Yeah, I'm more reluctant to allow in that individual's opinion that this was a suicide attempt.
So their South Shore doctors are able to talk about, superficial, as we've heard for a week now, but his opinion that it's consistent with what he's observed in his emergency room treatment is not admissible.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What I'm saying is that he can't necessarily give the opinion, I've looked at this, it's my opinion, this was a suicide attempt. But he could certainly testify, I've looked at the cuts, these are, the phrase superficial. I think that's been kind of mixed up in this whole thing too. That seems to be more of a medical term as opposed to
Well, no,
that.
they basically beat it to death with not being a medical term until we were able to show that in fact it was deep, 3.5 and 2. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to call this doctor, he's going to say, that's a significant cut.
Okay.
That's different than saying, looking at that, I find that this is a suicide attempt. Just like there's never been an opinion here that this was not a suicide attempt. That's probably something that the jury
now, but it wasn't a week ago.
Well, that's going to probably be for the jury to determine. But I would allow kind of going into the characteristics that have already been testified to. And I don't, we need a further voir dire on that doctor as well. But I think he lists in there kind of what he reviewed, but.
He did.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Anything else in regards to those three witnesses? No. All right. No. So I'm going to take this under advisement, but just kind of for what I'm inclined to do is I'm going to take a look at Dr. Condi's report and compare it to some of the other reports. I'm inclined to let Dr. La Posada testify to that the injuries are consistent with basically a fall on the head. And the last doctor I've got to take a look at kind of his language, but I would not be allowing in that his opinion that this is a suicide attempt. But he may testify as to all the other observations that he took from those records. All right.
Understood. Just no objection for what it's worth.
All right. And so I'll note the Commonwealth's objection. I'll note the defendant's objection. And so, and like I said, I'll take it under advisement, and everybody can renew those objections
As
again.
it relates to Condi, once you make your decision, you let me know. I can certainly reach out to him and have him delete this standard as to standard of care and just reference the actual treatment and prescriptions that you received.
All right. All right, so I'll take a look at this. I'll have this tomorrow morning for everybody when you come in.
Great.
All right?
Thank you.
So anything else we need to address?
Just in case there's a problem, Dr. La Posada has been working with a gentleman by the name of Mr. Drake, Drake Laboratories, that is putting together an auto computer animated display of coming out the window, the injuries to the neck, showing the vertebrae and that type of thing, which is all based upon evidence that's already in evidence here. So I haven't got it yet. It's not done yet. So I don't want to not say anything about it now because they'll be objecting to it tomorrow, I'm sure.
I assume we'll have to take a look at that and give the Commonwealth the opportunity to review it and hear the arguments in regards. It may be something nobody has objection to, or maybe, I don't know. All right?
Would have an objection to it, and it goes
You don't
back,
know. You haven't seen it.
It goes back to the whole position that, you know, we have the right to, if we want to obtain another expert, and then that expert could review that material and you know, use it to form his opinion. This is different than the 3D diagram of the house that the Commonwealth gave. The defense was on notice that was coming, the basis of it, the measurements, what the house looked like itself, and so that was turned over. This is completely different.
And I just note that, as I said, the medical records that the government has talks about Jefferson fracture. You might remember 2 weeks ago or 2.5 weeks ago when they first raised their objection, I told you that I can't know what they're going to argue until they argue it. So I didn't know whether or not they were going to say that it's a fake suicide or that she didn't jump out the window. I had to wait to see what their opening was. Now I know I have to rebut it.
We were almost out of here till you mentioned that 3D
Sorry.
thing. So why don't we do this? We'll wait on that. Okay. All right? I'm not committing one way or the other in regards to that. We'll see. You know, so you maybe the testimony with the 3D, the testimony without the 3D. We'll just kind of see where we go. All right. All right. So thanks everybody for kind of buckling down and going through that so we could resolve that as best we can. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Judge.
So we'll be in recess on this matter till tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. All right. Thank you.
Court, all rise.